Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show, where we cover all the major news headlines that you need to know about heading into your work day, heading into your work week. And we'll make sure we take good care of you, at least getting you in touch with reality of what's happening in global affairs, domestic affairs, heck, anything and everything. We try to do our best here. But good morning. Hopefully all you had a lovely weekend. We had a heck of a 250th anniversary for the United States Army, which was absolutely awesome, super patriotic, and we all got to hang out here together. There was thousands of us actually ended up being here. Believe it or not, we had thousands, folks. Pretty remarkable. But enough of me rambling. Hopefully, again, y'all had a lovely weekend. I did absolutely nothing yesterday, which was awesome. I needed that to do nothing. But somebody who never does nothing, well, we have big updates with world leaders and what's happening around the world, because there always seems to be something. There always seems to be something happening in global affairs, and that's Israel. Israel and Iran. Things are always popping off. Good to see you, George. Good to see you, Danielle, Jerry, David, Q, Angel, Deplorable, Dan, Peggy, Steven, Jeffrey, Miss Mom. I see all of you over there. Dizzy, Karen, Hans, David. I see everybody. It's good to see you. Good morning to you too. Israel believes Iranian conflict could be finished in days. Well, I'm not so sure. Israel officials said on Saturday that their operation against the Iranian regime could end within days, as the Israeli Air Force continues to exert dominance over Iranian airspace and take out missile launchers and nuclear facilities. So I don't even know what day we're going on. Day 5 of this? Can't even remember at this point. A senior intelligence official told Fox News chief foreign correspondent Trey Yanks, who I actually do follow here on the show, boots on the ground, I think we could finish it in days, adding it's a good thing that we have the U.S. by our side. Yanks reported that Iran will likely continue its missile attacks on Israel over the next few days. So there's his tweet right there that he popped off on the 14th. Cities across Israel have been hit with Iranian missile barrages after Israel launched a preemptive attack on the radical Islamic regime on Thursday. The Daily Wire previously reported at least 3 people in Israel have been killed and over 150 injured. Those numbers have gone up over the weekend. And I mean, even if you look at the numbers, I mean, what a remarkable defense system Israel has with these ballistic missiles being launched from the Iranians. You would expect this to be in the hundreds, if not higher, with what's happening over there. So shout out to the defense of the Israelis, because damn, you would expect a lot more casualties than what we got. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, holy Lord, wake up, Brad, said on Saturday that Iran was bombing our civilian neighborhoods while we are targeting the terrorists. I mean, there is truth to that. I mean, literally, they actually just bombed a neighborhood yesterday or the day before. So I'm under the assumption here that they are just launching missiles and just not a care in the world where they land. I don't even think the Iranians, and I'm speculating here, of course, no idea. I don't even think they're targeting something specific. I think they're just saying, hey, throw it at Kiev, throw it right there, wherever it lands, it's going to land. We just need this sucker to get there. That's my guess. We've taken out their senior military leadership. We've taken out their senior technologists. We are leading the race to build atomic weapons that would threaten us, but not only us, he said, adding, we've paved the way to Tehran, and our pilots over the skies of Tehran will deal blows to the Ayatollah regime that they cannot even imagine. And I can tell you this, we have the indication that senior leaders in Iran are packing their bags. They sense what's coming. I mean, there definitely is some big truth to that for sure. Basically, everybody almost below the supreme leader has been executed. So that's some news. We do have some live updates for you guys. I want to make sure I get to that as always. So let me kind of get to what took place over, at least let's do the last 48 hours. How about that? Because it gets kind of bonkers here. Give me un momento. Hopefully you're okay with me sharing updates. Again, I always think this kind of stuff's important to know what's happening here. All right, here we go. We had to act. Netanyahu reveals why he struck Iran in his first interview since Rising Lion launch. I believe this was the interview with Brett Baier, if I remember correctly. Israel Prime Minister stated that Iran regime posed an existential threat to the Jewish state because of the enrichment of uranium and rush to increase its ballistic missile arsenal. Kind of what I was hearing during the interview, if this is the interview that I'm referencing or reading, is that it wasn't just the fact that they would have gotten nukes or nuclear warheads soon. It was more so that they were going to have a bunch of these missiles that would have just kind of done some serious damage to Israel. So a lot of the talk is, well, they were just like a week from having a nuclear warhead. Maybe, but that's not what the intelligence was suggesting. I think they were about 5 or 6 years out from having like an actual nuke. And they're like, you know what, this is still too close. We don't like it, but more so, we don't like the fact that they have some missiles that can hurt us. So we're going to go ahead and just do this now, whether the United States wants us to or not. There was a magnitude 2.5 earthquake reportedly recorded near the nuclear site in Iran. The problem is that when you looked at the kind of the earthquake websites, nobody was really classifying it as an earthquake. So a lot of people were speculating that this was obviously some big boy bombs going off over there. But we'll see if there's any updates with that. If the Israelis struck the plant, it could be a major blow to Iran's nuclear program. One thing I was also getting reports on yesterday was one of the issues that Israel is having with this whole attack of trying to get rid of these nuclear sites. They don't have the right missiles. They don't have the right bombs. There's only a specific country that carries the payload that they would need to get really deep into the earth. And we're the ones that carry that payload. So that poses a problem, because if all of a sudden Israel is able to get deep down into the earth, just randomly, you kind of would assume that we're the ones that supplied them the munitions, and that could lead to an escalation. A lot of stuff is happening with this. Israel is striking Iranian surface-to-surface missiles now. If this is the report that I was following yesterday, and it is in fact the report, the Israelis have this system in place, which all of you are aware, that they know when a missile strike is incoming. They sound the alarms, and everybody goes and bunkers down. They go underground. But what was weird yesterday was, around this time, there was calls to have the Israelis go underground. But then nothing happened for like hours, which is very, very rare. Normally, they have calls to go underground, and not too far after that, 30 minutes, it ranges. But there's usually a strike, and a pretty heavy one at least, or at least the dome going off and intercepting missiles. But yesterday was weird. Yesterday was very, very weird how they said, hey, get underground, hunker down, and stay there. And then everybody, all the reporting I was seeing yesterday, because I was watching this, it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything. I never really take a day off for you guys. I love you too much. They were just sitting there, not really having anything happen. So a lot of speculation was, well, what are the Israelis doing then? Is there an operation going on while everybody's hunkered down? Rumor is this was the strike that they thwarted, that they found these surface-to-surface missiles, and they were able to take them out before they were actually able to attack in the first place. That's speculation, but that's what I was hearing yesterday as this was going on live. I probably listened to 10 hours straight of reporting yesterday, realistically. I sat in here for about 10 hours listening to reporting on this. So I'm going to give you everything that I got that's not listed here on this screen. Another hub of Iran's nuclear program, Israel also struck the site in October. Trump should be on the phone with Tom Cruise, Fordo, give him a Cessna 5 hand grenades and a handgun and consider the bunker busters. This is what I was referring to in regards to allowing Israel to have the right weaponry to take out these nuclear sites. We have here, Iranian government accuses Israel of a war crime for striking foreign ministry building. And it's not just the Iranian government that's come out and accused Israel of war crimes. So has China. China came out over the weekend and accused the Israelis of committing war crimes. So the criminal regime of Israel launched a deliberate and ruthless strike on one of the buildings of Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, located directly across the Institute of Political and International Studies. Here's a little bit of what that looked like. It won't let me go full screen. I thought it always looked like that. Yeah, that was a morning joke. So here's a picture of the map. Now, some of you are like, oh, that's San Francisco's poop map. Yes, San Francisco had a map that looked just like this, except all these pins were brown because that labeled the poop. This is exactly what San Francisco looks like with all the fecal matter from human beings, not even dogs. But no, this is Israel. This is the missile barrage incoming, is targeting all of Israel. Now, I think this is important, but at the same time, I think at this point, we could just make the whole country red because missiles are coming down everywhere. Just completely everywhere. Can you imagine living in just life like that? I always try to put myself in people's shoes. It doesn't mean that what I'm trying to get at is, when I say that phrase, it always bugs me. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine when someone says, well, you never lived my life. You never put on my shoes. You never lived a day in the life of my sneakers. Well, I don't need to live a day in your life to like comprehend a good extent of what you're going through. And the reason why I say a good extent is you're not able to fully grasp what somebody's going through because you're literally not them and you're not obviously walking in their shoes, but you can get a good grasp of what the heck's going on. I've never understood that argument of like, well, you never lived my life, so you don't understand. Well, I haven't lived a lot of history and I can understand history. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things I haven't lived through that I can comprehend and know and distinguish between something's right and something's wrong by analyzing it and looking at it. So it's a little odd phrase. But can you imagine living and always hearing air raid sirens going off constantly, having to bunker down because people want to wipe you off the face of the earth like the Iranians? I don't blame Israel for going after the Iranians. Can you imagine if, let's say, I'm going to make something up, Mexico, right there on the border, wanted to create a nuclear warhead and was launching missiles? Do you think the United States would put up with that crap? Do you think the American citizens would put up with that? I don't think so. Mexico would be a parking lot. So the Israelis are the ones doing very tactical strikes here. Here's a little bit of footage from Iranian missiles being intercepted.
Facing wars in the Middle East, what he would do, whether he would support it, it's a big question mark. I'm not sure if you know the answer. What he would do, whether he would support it, it's a big question mark. I'm not sure if you know the answer.
As we're seeing shots of Tel Aviv, live pictures now on our screens of Tel Aviv, where missiles are.
There we go. In double loop.
Question may well be answered as we're seeing shots of Tel Aviv, live pictures now on our screens of Tel Aviv, where missiles are being launched. Let's have a listen in there. So
that one got
these
through.
are pictures, live pictures of Tel Aviv, where we're seeing Israel's air defense systems there intercepting.
Dude, some of these blasts are nasty. It's wild because you just see you see where it hits, right? And then you're waiting and just the boom that these missiles make. And if it's picking it up like that on audio, I can't imagine how loud this stuff is in real life. It's just thundering. And that's just one or two going off. Can you imagine if it was 25, 50 of these suckers going off? I mean, that's a heck of a boom boom. So more updates here again. Following Iran's latest rocket barrage, medics are responding to missile impacts sites in central Israel. The Israeli Home Front Command told civilians they had to leave their shelters following Iran's latest missile barrage. More missiles emergency reports. Tel Aviv hit. So this is a direct hit on Tel Aviv. I'm 2 floors underground, direct hit. Hopefully he's safe. Here's where a high-rise residential building suffered serious damage from the impact of a ballistic missile.
גיא סירה פתח תקווה. יש נקודים. גיא סירה פתח תקווה.
And this is not me trying to be a rude or don't read too far into this. It's just me looking at this for, in terms of a ballistic missile, I thought it would do more damage. And that could clearly be coming from a lack of knowledge of the size of ballistic missiles. It's just, when I look at this, it looked like somebody has a kitchen fire. When I think of ballistic missile, I think of like this whole thing, just be this whole chunk of this building just gone, wiped out. Again, I'm please don't read too far into that. I'm like, oh, wow, that's really inconsiderate. That's really rude. Geez, those people's lives are in danger. Just merely making an observation, folks. A 10-year-old boy seriously injured in the missile attack. You got 3 people confirmed killed by the Iranian missile in Israel. So, needless to say, this is not ending anytime soon. We got some death toll rises to 24 now, 30 impacted. So I guess they've launched over 370 missiles. Those numbers could be inflated. Remember, this stuff's a little biased, but because I heard it was like 300, a little under 300. It was a lot. 30 impacted, 24 people have been killed, and then under 600 injured, which I think that's remarkable. For 370 missiles being launched, 30 of them impacting, and you're not even getting a 1-to-1 ratio if you're the Iranians. And I'm also being told that the Iranians are running out of missiles. And the conversation that a lot of people are also having regarding this whole thing is, who's supplying Russia now with munitions? Because remember, Russia was getting allegedly they were getting some of their drones from the Iranians. So people are wondering, well, who's going to be supplying the Russians with drones now? Was this a 4D chess maneuver? That's what we're going to find out here. Is Trump playing 4D chess? Let me break this down for you, because this is some games. You guys ever play that board game Risk? Takes like days to complete. You come out and you're a different human being. This is like a little game of Risk or Game of Thrones. You have Trump trying to negotiate with Putin and Zelensky over there with Russia, Ukraine. Now you got Israel and Iran going at it. Trump was trying to get deals done on both fronts. What if he was killing 2 birds with 1 stone, no pun intended, by cutting off a supply chain to the Russians, which makes it an equal footing with him and the Iranians, also gives him a little bit of leverage now with them and the Iranians, gives him a little bit of leverage with the Russians and the Ukrainian front, because now maybe choked out a little bit of Putin's oomph. Mind you, I'm speculating. And then also, remember, he was trying to get a nuclear trades negotiation deal done with the Iranians. But remember, when he was talking to Dana Bash last week, she said, well, did those people die that you were negotiating with from Israeli missiles? And Trump goes, well, they didn't die of COVID. You know, a little smart ass Trump. So is this Israel's getting what they want in terms of, hey, we're going to have a little bit more peace and security out of this? And then Trump is also getting what he wants in the sense of, well, now you got to put in new negotiating people, because the people you were negotiating with in the first place are gone. They're vaporized, or at least blown to bits. So this is kind of a win-win for Trump, is it not? Unless we get dragged into World War III, which I'm not so sure is going to happen because the Iranians have just been crippled. And Trump's like, look, Ayatollah Khomeini, the supreme leader, sir, we did not do anything. I sat here and had a Diet Coke. Are you serious? Are you seriously going to accuse me of bombing you? Really? Because everything says I was sitting here doing nothing with my feet on the desk, sipping a Diet Coke. So we'll keep you up to date on what's going on with all the live news. There was also word yesterday that Israel is kind of wanting to come to the table with the Iranians and say, hey, you know what? If you want to stop your attacks, we'll stop our attacks. Both sides have kind of had enough. Is that true? Not 100% sure. Again, this is just a lot of speculation and a lot of things coming out regarding this whole ordeal. Also, in other news here, you have the Khomeini himself ordered military to strike Israeli civilian population centers. This is something that I previously just mentioned to all you fine patriots. Again, if you're having a good time here, hit the thumbs up button. That greatly does support the show here, because it forces the algorithm, the artificial intelligence that's running the whole thing, to send our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. We have hundreds of people watching right now. Greatly appreciate everybody over on X. We got about 50 over there. We got about another 50, 100 over on YouTube now. And then we got almost 100 on Rumble. So we had a couple people watching. Again, appreciate all of you choosing our morning show to make sure that you're filled up with the news that you need to know about. So we have here on Sunday, Jerusalem Post reported sources said Israeli ministers had been told that the Iranian supreme leader personally ordered his military to attack Israeli civilian population centers. Again, I'm not so sure with that. I think they're just happy that a couple are landing. I should say a couple, because 30 missiles seem to have gotten through. But you understand what I'm saying. There's also conspiracy theory being told out there is that, I don't believe this, by the way, but people are saying that the Israelis are allowing some missiles to get through the Iron Dome so they can keep this escalation going, or at least this campaign going, and get more people to support this bombing of Iranian nuclear sites and military sites. That's just the theory. Again, take it with a grain of salt, folks. I'm just presenting you stuff out there. You take what you want with it. I don't think any of you are stupid. I think a lot of you are intelligent. Dizzy, George, not so much. I'm kidding. I love you guys. You know I love you, baby. But all jokes aside, you guys can make that analysis yourself, right? And I think that's where a lot of podcasters go wrong, is they go, well, this, because I'm saying it, I must be right. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just giving you all the news. I got a camera and a microphone. I ain't no different than any of you fine people, okay? A lot of you are more intelligent than I am. So in 2012, former Spanish Prime Minister, speaking at a Jerusalem Center for Public Affairs, recalled in a private discussion we held in Tehran in October of 2000, the Khomeini told me that Israel must be burned to the ground and made to disappear from the face of the earth. See, I am told that I pull this stuff out of my you-know-what. I am told constantly that, well, where'd you get that from? I've never heard that in my life. Really? Because I've heard this for 25 years. I've heard this phrase. I'm 36, meaning as far back as I can remember, I have always heard that the Iranians want to wipe the Jews off the face of the earth, which is why I always use this specific phrase right here. Thank you so much for, oh God, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Predesniner. I tried my best. Thank you so much for the $10. Good morning from PR Designer. Oh God, I'm butchering. I'm so sorry. Appreciate your commitment. Happy Monday. I appreciate the $10 and thank you for joining us here. Shout out to you, by the way, for joining us over here at the Bald Brad Show. Greatly appreciate that. I always love when you patriots write in and also donate, because I'm the only guy here. Please donate. As I mentioned, we're going to start pushing donations a little bit more here. If you're able to, it's always appreciated, but don't feel like you have to. But it obviously does help me out tremendously, because we're running this whole thing by ourselves. And the bigger we get, the more systems we need and the more upgrades we need. And, well, you understand. So thank you. And then adding that Khomeini declared Iran's war against the United States and Israel is inevitable. So This guy, I don't think is really that supported. There was a rumor out there, and you know what? Let me confirm this really quick with you. I should have done it yesterday. I apologize, but you know, I'm lazy. There was a report that something like 80% of the Iranian people are not in support of their government. Percent of Iranians don't approve of their government. Let's see. So let's see here. Yes, there's evidence from opinion surveys suggesting that a significant majority of Iranians disapprove of their government. A 2023 survey of the Netherlands-based institute involving 158,000 respondents in Iran, which is a lot. I mean, depending on how you do this, you guys, you can get by with 1,000. So usually if I see something with 10,000, I'm pretty happy with. Now that depends on how this is dispersed amongst the Iranian people. You know, we'd have to break out the study and see truly how they did it, how all this was conducted. So I love this phrase, right? Take it with a grain of salt. You guys keep hearing me say it, but it's true with these types of surveys. These are just observational, meaning, you know, there's a lot of biases that can be involved in this, a ton of biases, because you can't really remove them in these types of studies. You're basically giving somebody a questionnaire. We're not exactly sure what biases this institute has themselves. That's something I'd have to break down on the side. So again, just kind of take these numbers for what they are. Well, they found that 81% rejected the Islamic Republic. That is insane. This is a wild, wild number. With only 15 expressing support, similar sentiments are echoed in posts on X, where users cite figures around 80% opposing the regime. Though these are less formal and should be treated as inconclusive without further verification. However, here we go. Polling in Iran faces challenges due to the government restrictions and social desirability bias, which may affect the accuracy of the figures. Yeah, but if Iran is facing challenges due to government restrictions, wouldn't this number technically be the low number then? Wouldn't, again, if the Iranian government is getting involved in this and is kind of restricting basically what you can and can't say, what you can and can't ask, could potentially this number be higher then? If you pick it up what I'm putting down. Maybe. Pretty bonkers. Former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations said, quote, when the Khamenei was talking about wiping Israel off the map, was he referring to a gradual historic process involving the collapse of the Zionist state, or rather its physical military termination? I think that's a fair question to ask, but here's the problem. I've heard it too many times where I don't think he's talking just militarily. And let me distinguish between the two, because this is what the distinction is with the Israelis. The Israelis' beef is not with the Iranian people. Benjamin Netanyahu did a speech specifically telling the Iranian people, my problem is not with you fine people. You guys are great. My problem is specifically with your government, specifically with the supreme leader and his initiative to build a nuclear weapon. So I just don't think that this is just the Iranians saying, hey, we only want to go after your military and terminate that. I don't see that happening. He meant physical termination through military force. Added that Khamenei was working toward Iran defeating the United States and Israel in an inevitable war against them. Yeah, well, this is a guy that's clearly not well, right? The supreme leader. And you might be thinking, well, obviously, Brad, if he's targeting civilian areas. He's not well just from the sheer fact that he thinks he could take on the United States. I mean, there was a report. How quickly did the U.S. Navy take out Iran's Navy? I think we took out like 50% of their military, specifically their Navy. And we could have taken out everything. So here you go. In Operation Praying Mantis on April 18th, 1988. This is before I was alive. I was born almost a year to the day after this. I was born March 13th, folks. So a year later, I was live. So the U.S. Navy significantly crippled Iran's naval capabilities in a single day. How many times have I referenced this, by the way? And I joke around all the time because people think that they're messing. Oh, that's my last name. Holy crap. We'll get there. We'll get there. With major combat action spanning roughly 8 to 12 hours, we wiped out their Navy in a shift at Staples. We wiped out an entire country's naval capabilities in a work day. And this guy thinks he can take us out? Do you see the delusion that I'm referring to here? Does everybody see that? I think so. A little, not right in the head, a little off. Guy's a little wrong. I don't know what happened to him. I think his dad kicked him in the head when he was a baby. And he woke up and said, I'm Supreme Leader, baby. The operation was a retaliation for the mining of the USS Samuel B. Roberts 4 days earlier. U.S. forces, including surface warships and aircraft from USS Enterprise, destroyed 2 Iranian oil platforms, sank the Iranian frigate and missile boat, severely damaged the frigate, blah, blah, blah. Well, basically, we kicked their tushies is what that's saying. we really put it in them, boys. So now you know I'm not pulling this stuff out of my you-know-what. Now my time frame might be a little off. I said, hey, we took out their Navy in 48 hours. My bad. We took out their Navy, the capabilities, in 8 to 12 hours. It was a night shift. That's crazy. According to numerous reports, Iran has launched hundreds of ballistic missiles. We saw it was about over 300. Many at Tel Aviv, where a lot of people live. It's the largest population in Israel. As noon today, 13 people have been killed so far. That number has obviously gone up in recent reports, which I've already read, all you fine patriots in the chat. Now, one of the things the Iranians have been doing is cutting internet service. They went dark. This happened on day one of this whole initiative. And so who comes in? Uh-oh, Darth Vader, Dark Musk. After the tyrannical Iranian regime turned off the internet in Iran, Musk says, I don't think so. I don't think so. Effectively preventing the Iranian people from knowing the damage caused to the regime by Israel's military strike and thus emboldening them to challenge the regime. Free speech advocate Elon Musk confirmed he had turned on Starlink, allowing the Iranian people to access the internet. So you have a bunch of propaganda being sent out, and Elon's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. So Musk responded to Fox News host and radio host Mark Levin, who noted Elon Musk can put the final nail in the coffin of the Iranian regime by providing Starlink internet to the Iranian people. Iran cut off all internet so the people cannot organize a coup and communicate. One of the big theories right now is that Israel not only wants to wipe out the nuclear facilities and also do damage to military sites, but also, if they can, to try and get a new government in place. Here's the wild thing that I heard over the weekend. This was reported by Reuters. Is Trump said no. Now, how do I express this? Do you know that initial attack that the Israelis did just a few days ago, and it took out a bunch of the Iranians' senior military? It would be like taking out like JD and maybe like a Pete Hegseth, or like JD and another high level cabinet official. That's basically how devastating this attack was on the Iranians. Now imagine if Israel could have gotten the supreme leader as well in that attack. Based on how I'm interpreting the Reuters report, this comes from 2 U.S. officials, is Trump told the Israelis, do not assassinate the supreme leader. And I guess they could have gotten him while he was in a plane or something. That part is a little loosey in terms of the reporting. But from my understanding, the Israelis did have the supreme leader in their crosshair, and Trump says no. Take that for what it's worth. It could be a bunch of BS. It could be a negotiation tactic of when the Iranians called Trump, and we know they did, and him saying, look, Ayatollah, whatever the hell your name is, I saved your life. You owe me. They could have kicked your ass. You would be in heaven right now. or hell, one or the other. I mean, I'm not the one to judge, right? I'm not the Lord Almighty. But I think you understand what I'm saying. So allegedly, that's what took place. Is Trump saved the Supreme Leader's life, is what I'm trying to say. You can look it up yourself. Mark Levin said the beams are on. Beam me up, Scotty. Iranian dissidents have cheered. I've heard a lot of this. There's also a video of the Iranians coming out in the streets and in excitement over this. Now, if it is true that 80% of the Iranians do not like the government, I could see those people being extremely happy that their own government's being wiped out. I don't know. It's weird for me to say, but look, the Iranian people are great people. They truly are. Extremely smart and bright, by the way. I mean, the amount of intellectual people they have there is just remarkable. All across the Middle East, I've always said this in the past, the Middle East used to be a hub of just intellectual activity. I mean, they were the known spot on earth for basically having the smartest people. The amount of science and mathematics that poured out from the Middle East was remarkable. And it's not like that anymore. Don't get me wrong. It's not like there aren't advancements coming out of the Middle East. There definitely are. I mean, Israel would be one of the talking points in terms of that conversation for sure, in terms of the technology they've come out with. I mean, look at Waze. We all use Waze here in the United States. A lot of people do. That came out from Israel. That's that was a massive upgrade in terms of GPS and the capabilities of being able to communicate traffic patterns and everything of the sort. So I'm not going to waste my time more with this article. We got to move into other news here, baby, because we got a lot to cover. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, hit that like button. Again, we do this each and every weekday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. For the next 7 weeks, we are extending the Bald Brad Show to be multi-hour if possible. We'll kind of see where things take us. But shout out again to everybody in the chat. I see you all over there. A lot of you seem to be talking about the shooter. We'll get into that towards the end of the episode. I got it up here. So don't worry. We're making sure we get over everything. You just got to kind of have a little bit of patience. There's a lot of news to cover. Trump has a travel ban 2.0. Here's everything you need to know regarding that. President Donald Trump earlier this month announced a ban on travel from a dozen countries and partial restrictions from seven more in an effort to protect the United States from terrorist and public safety threats. The comment that I want to make here off the get-go is there's a lot of rumors, and I even might do a TikTok video later today talking about this. There's a lot of rumors that the Iranians might initiate the sleeper cells that they have currently in the United States. That's not they might have sleeper cells. No. Let's not be silly here. There's over 1,000 terrorists in the country right now, some of which the United States government actually knows about. Now, where am I getting this information from? This is coming from Sarah Adams, who's codenamed Superbad. I've seen multi-hour length podcasts, her not just detailing out who these people are, but also detailing out how we know this, where she's getting her information from, how she's getting her information. You need to sit down on that podcast. There's multiple. There's like 2 or 3 just on Sean Ryan alone regarding her talking about all this stuff. It's going to make you not feel very safe. And if you're not a firearm advocate or holder, I think now's the time for you to go get a few cases of munitions and maybe get a firearm, because there's a lot of sleeper cells in our country right now, and you can thank the Democrats for that. That is not a Republican problem. That is specifically a Democrat problem. Don't get me going down that rabbit hole once again of them funding terrorism, giving our freaking enemies $1 billion+ of military grade equipment, binoculars, night vision, freaking M16s, all sorts of other firearms, munitions, Humvees, tactical gear, Black Hawks. I mean, the list goes on and on of what Joey left behind. Not to mention giving the Taliban, now I'm on it, now giving the Taliban $40 to $80 million a week, funding their whole administrative buildings. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's wild. Barack Obama giving $1.7 billion in cash to the Iranians. Get me out of here. You don't love the freaking terrorism Democrats. You love that stuff. Look what you're doing in the streets right now, terrorizing people. The ban fully restricts or limits the entry of nationals from 12 countries found to be deficient with regards to screening and vetting and determined to pose a very high risk to the United States. I'm in full belief that our generosity is going to be one of the many variables. And I think it's going to be I think it's going to be one of the bigger contributions in terms of the fall of the Republic. And it's actually something I did not include in the book. Trojan Horse, I might as well plug it. I talk about a lot of reasons as to why the left, or rather how and why the left is destroying this country. And we have a lot of the words up here that we utilize in the book in terms of what we talk about. Now, there is an ideological standpoint in terms of the left on how they're going to destroy this country. But one thing I don't bring up is the generosity of what we have here in terms of a culture in the United States of just allowing these countries that have not exactly great cultures, to be honest. They can't figure out their own shit in their own country, and we expect them to come over here and just figure things out as well. That ain't happening. It'd be different if it was, but it's not. Now, that is not a black and white statement. That is a very gray statement, because people always like to point towards, well, look at that guy. That guy was able to figure it out. He came from Sudan. That guy came from Somalia. Yeah, we're not saying it can't happen. We're just saying in a totality and a holistic viewpoint, a bird's eye view, that it isn't really happening. And you see that most notably where? Over there in Europe. Okay, Europe, we'll just continue here. 7 other countries face partial restrictions. The White House says the order makes exceptions for lawful permanent residents, people with existing visas, certain visa types, and anyone whose entry would support American national interest. According to the White House, the goal of the ban is to pressure foreign governments to cooperate on security, help enforce the United States immigration laws, and support key national security and counterterrorism priorities. My worry is that a lot of the initiatives that Donald Trump is putting in place here with these travel bans, trying to make sure people are coming in appropriately, they have the right paperwork. Remember, the right paperwork is it's already tough enough to vet. I bring that up because there's a individual that the United States government is aware of. I would also like to point out the government is aware of Osama bin Laden's son having his feet dipped into this matter of falsifying passports to get terrorists into the country. So they have one name, and in some cases, they committed heinous crimes with this name of said country that they're coming from. And in other cases, they've never done anything, and they're coming over here fresh, and they're getting still a new name under this passport that's being falsified and created that you couldn't tell the difference between. And now remember, things were already loose as it was when Joey was president. You didn't even have to show your papers. How do I know that? Is because they were leaving their papers at the border and just going into the interior of the country. Wouldn't you think you need that later on? But what do I know? Nah, I'm just an idiot. Oh, I'm just a MAGA supporter. He's just a MAGA supporter. He doesn't know nothing. Yeah, whatever. Now you're going to love this because, and first of all, I know you're going to love it because we talk about it all the time. Don't we always say here to the progressive left, hey, why don't you go try to protest in somebody else's country regarding this pro-Gaza, pro-Palestinian stuff, and let us know how that works out for you? Well, they listened. Yes, I know. Everybody just perked up. Wake the hell up! We got what we wanted. Everybody, let's bask in all the glory of this article. Now, it's really going to suck if this article doesn't play out the way I think it's going to. But very rarely are we wrong. All right. Hundreds of activists attempting to march into Gaza this week in an attention-seeking anti-Israel stunt. You ready? Yes! Were arrested and deported by Egyptian authorities before they made it to Gaza. Did we not say this is exactly, one, what would happen, and two, why these nut jobs over here in America, these progressive lefties that have their braids on too tight and their underwear up their ass so hard that they can't think correctly, why they don't go to other countries to protest, which is probably the main area of where you would want to protest, correct? Why don't you go do it over there? Because they arrest you and deport you. Don't see anybody taking into the streets in America regarding these deportations. God forbid we do it. God forbid we do. By the way, We're doing it because they're illegal. They're not supposed to be here in the first place. And a lot of them committed crimes. These people are just marching in support of something that they like. And they were actually doing it peacefully. They weren't burning anything down. They weren't assaulting police officers. Nope. These people, because they knew they would be deleted if they were to do anything of that. If they were to get out of control, they know that they would have been deleted. So they were, if anything, they should have been allowed to do what they were going to do. Obviously, they weren't allowed to do what they would do, and they were arrested and deported. So check this out. But remember, we're so terrible here. We're so terrible. It's like in America, you get to burn down cities for something, whatever you believe in, it looks like. Well, if you're on the left, of course. See, if you're on the right and you do that, well, then, you know, oh, you're bigot, like you hate this country or whatever. I don't know. We don't really do that on the right here. We don't really burn down cities. I'm sure you could find it throughout history, but in totality, again, I always mention this. If you were to do like a side-by-side chart, who does the most burning of cities? There was a insurrection that's been done by them before too. So they always like, oh, J6. Yeah, but this is what they do. This is what they do to their entire history of that party. They go like this. You know, they'll peek around the corner every now and then. And sometimes you get lucky enough where somebody puts their hands down, they have to look at it. Kind of like when your dog throws up on the floor, you make them look at it, right? Sometimes we get Democrats that do that, and then they convert. They come to the Republican Party because they've woken up going, oh, yeah, that's a really big messy. Oh, God, I don't want to have to clean that up. Actually, I don't even want any part of that. Around 200 activists from 80 countries were detained by Egyptian authorities on Thursday, according to one of the activists organizing the march, the Associated Press reported. Most of those arrested and deported were Algerians and Moroccans. While some were from the United States, Australia, Netherlands, France, and Spain on Friday, dozens more anti-Israel activists were detained and deported as authorities stopped vehicles alongside the Sinai Peninsula, which leads to Rafah. These idiots just getting deported. I love it. Good. Yeah, I guess it didn't work out, did it, you nut jobs? It just shows you how stupid people are. Like, fine, I'll go over there. I'll prove you guys wrong. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, us in our tinfoil hats. Israel warned on Wednesday that the march posed a threat to regional security and instructed its military to prevent any demonstrators from entering Gaza. The Israeli government urged Egypt to prevent the arrival of jihadist protesters at the Egyptian-Israeli border, arguing that they would endanger the safety of Israeli soldiers and will not be allowed. A spokesman from the anti-Israel demonstrators said the marchers would wait for more clarity from the Egyptian government before attempting to march into Gaza. Libyan authorities stopped more demonstrators traveling with an aid convoy on Thursday, before they reached the Egyptian border. Libya urged demonstrators to engage in proper coordination with the official Libyan authorities through legal and diplomatic channels to ensure the safety of all participants and uphold the principles of solidarity with the Palestinian people. So the arrest happens, suckers. What a bunch of idiots. Good. I hope you learned your lesson. You can't just go protest wherever the hell you want. That's why we live in the greatest country on planet Earth. Let me take a little swig of my water here, wet my whistle. If you're enjoying what you're seeing on the Bald Brad Show, again, thank you for your support. Really appreciate that. We do this every weekday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go on throughout the day. If you're not able to join us live, well, this does get uploaded, folks. You can watch this at any moment and get your news. And we're a little bit tame today. You're right. You're like, Brad, did you not get enough sleep? Well, truthfully, no, I haven't been getting enough sleep. But, I figured we'll settle it down just a little bit. You know what I mean? We can't get too crazy. It's Monday. Monday, we got to ease into the week. By Wednesday, we'll burn this podcast down to the ground, baby. We will pop off at some point. Don't get me riled up. Now I'm going. Shit. Now, for those that are new here, this is not your normal show. I got to keep saying that. So I apologize for all those that have been here for years. We are one of the best morning shows out there. And I don't care what anybody tells you. We bring the most energy. We bring you the most news. It might not be the most deep in analysis news, but we bring you the most news. And by damn it, I bring you the entertainment and the laughter. And you find somebody else that has this much energy. I don't care if it's a radio show or podcast that has this much energy at 6 a.m., baby. Damn, I love hanging out with you guys, and our community is awesome. And a few people just dropped off because I started screaming into the mic. Hey, the show's not for everybody. That's okay. That's okay. If you're not crazy enough, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen is what they say. I love it. I freaking love it. So why America needs mass deportations now. Let's break this down by Kevin Roberts. No affiliation. Don't know who Kevin is, but he has a great last name. I know a guy. I know a guy with the last name Roberts. He's good. He's one of the best podcasts in the morning. Dying civilizations reveal themselves in familiar ways. Faith is abandoned, culture is drained of meaning, and the will to defend the home is eroded. You're going to hear a lot of things that I've talked about here on the Bald Brad Show in this analysis, in this opinion piece. I'm going to go through the whole thing because I think it's that important. And also the reason why I want to go through it too, it's going to equip you with the arguments in terms of why these deportations are so needed to a scale that Tom Homan is not meeting. So this is why I say, I know all of you, we did the poll. I know a lot of you say that Tom Homan and Trump are meeting your deportation expectations, not mine. And this article will hopefully allow you to see the urgency that I have within me as to why this needs to happen. Because I am seeing the fall of the republic. I am hoping that Donald Trump turns it around, which is why I voted for the guy the third time. Metamouth says, I love it, Bald Brad. Get louder, wake those motherfuckers up. Hell yeah. Get crazy, baby. Good morning, Corian. Good to see you. Shout out to Corin in the chat there. That's cool to always see a new Patriots. I've never seen that name before, but welcome. I have 106,000 subscribers. I know everybody's name individually. Trust me. But there are two unmistakable signs that a civilization is in mortal danger. When its people cease to build families, that's happening. And when it tolerates invasion without resistance, that is also happening. In 2006, Pat Buchanan raised a warning to the American people saying, quote, we are entered upon the final act of our civilization, the last scene in the destruction of the nations. The penultimate scene, interesting, now well underway, is the invasion unresisted. Yes, it's unresisted. You've had 20 million people enter into your borders and nothing has happened. And I think people struggle with that idea of trying to comprehend 20 plus million people entering into your country. And the reason why I think they have a tough time comprehending it is, one, when numbers get so large, just normally, it's just hard to comprehend, even for me. And I do math all the time. But second, it's because they're not feeling it. They're actually not feeling it in their personal lives, in their neighborhoods, in their home, in their pocketbook. Now, it is happening and it is affecting them, but not to the point to where it's a nuisance, not to a point where it's a problem. Robin, I know your name. I see you all the time, Robin. Come on, girl. You think I don't know you, baby? You think I don't know you? Good to see you, Kenneth. Kenneth has been here before. Don't you guys test me right now. I'll pop off real quick. I'll start giving out addresses. I'm kidding. Yeah, you just were testing me, Robin. Robin, you're always in here, girl. I know who you are. Come on. I know everybody in here. See, the thing is I definitely know the regulars. Like everybody right now over at Rumble, like literally everybody in the chat is a regular. And most of you over on YouTube are regulars as well. Most of you. There's a couple in here that are new. Now, there's a lot of people that are watching that aren't regulars, that are just little lurkers. You creepers, you're just here checking me out, aren't you? Well, come into the chat and catcall me, baby. Treat me like I'm AOC. Remember AOC just kept accusing everybody of catcalling her? Oh, you just want to get with me. No, we don't, you psycho. What the American people are witnessing in Los Angeles is that scene that was described, flying the flags of foreign lands. The barbarians have stormed the gates. They bear no loyalty to America. That is a problem. That is a major problem. no reverence for her inheritance, and no desire to become a part of her family. That's talking about assimilation. They have no desire to assimilate to our creeds and values. This is where a country collapses, folks, and you're seeing it happen in your lifetime, which is scary. If it doesn't change now, it's not going to change. I just want to be clear on that. And we said this. We said this when Donald Trump was elected. Now is the time to make the change. If it does not happen in the next 3.5 years, it's GG. And I don't care who's the next Republican president. And by the way, please understand this. It's not just my thinking. One of my main guys, and we only get so many more years with this gentleman, and it really pains me that we don't get more of him, is Thomas Sowell. He's my number one guy. If you don't know who Thomas Sowell is, he's a Black American economist from the Hoover Institute. He's written a ton of books. If you haven't gotten into Thomas Sowell yet, please stop what you're doing. Even leave my podcast and go buy all of his books. It's going to change your life. Even he is in agreement, or I should say I'm in agreement with him, I suppose. I'll put him on top. That our republic is falling. If Trump doesn't fix this, you guys, and I this is very rarely do I actually give my real opinion. And I should say my real, it's not like I'm BSing you. I usually give you other people's opinions and I present them to you to allow you to create your own opinion. If Trump does not fix this, our country is gone. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen in our lifetimes. It might happen in our kids' or grandkids' lifetimes, but you are going to see a major shift in this country. Our country is resilient. What the founders created is very, very strong. It can only take so much of a beating, just like anything else. And I firmly do believe that. I mean, I wrote an entire book on it. And I know that a lot of people, oh, Brad, we've heard you say this before. Yeah, but I'm trying to sound the alarm. It's like the guy that's going, fucking shit, this place is going to blow up. Get out. Millions of deportable aliens fill American cities and hold American jobs, but they are strangers in our midst, not because sanctuary cities like Los Angeles have failed to welcome them, but because they intend to tear down the permanent things that make this nation worth belonging to. The republic has been invaded. We need mass deportations, not someday, now. Mass deportations are fiscally responsible, morally just, and politically popular. Flying someone safely home is possibly the most merciful consequence for violating our laws. Mass deportation is not extreme. It is the moderate moral alternative to chaos that any serious nation would take to defend its borders. And while some might criticize the amount of funding that this endeavor requires, you can't put a price on the safety and well-being of the American people. Correct. I'm a fiscal conservative, and I think this initiative needs to help because you are going to be saving so much money in the long run. It is head spinning. Approximately 18.6 million illegal aliens reside in the United States. It's actually north of 20 million, by the way. The Department of Homeland Security has backlog of more than 9 million pending immigration benefit applications. Another 3.5 million cases are backlogged in the DOJ immigration court. To restore our immigration system, both legal and illegal, we should pause intake of additional applications, including employment authorization documents. In the meantime, the administration can work to remove all deportable aliens between now and 2029. But this guy's speaking too logical. James Roberts is speaking way too logical here. If you can't fill the orders, then why would you continue to take orders? This will take both resources and courage, but the American people support the goal. 6 months into the Trump administration, the president's approval rating on immigration is surging like a rocket. And we saw this from CNN. We watched it together. I mean, the numbers are crazy. The flip that we saw in 5 years, just from 2020 to 2025, is some of the most insane flips I've ever seen in all of politics. It might be up there in the top 5 flips in terms of people not supporting to supporting this initiative. It is bonkers. To the point where it almost makes you wonder if there was something egregious or manipulative or nefarious going on in the original numbers. And I've said it time and time again that if I was somebody doing those stats, I would have probably reviewed it minimum 3 times. It is such a flip from people not supporting to supporting Donald Trump's deportation initiative and getting rid of illegal immigrants and dealing with illegal immigration and just supporting Donald Trump's whole agenda on it. It's hard to fathom that there's that big of a flip in just 4.5 years. It might be, again, one of the greatest flips I've ever seen in all of politics. Now, Congress must act and pass the One Big Beautiful Bill Act with urgency because there's a lot in there that would help with this problem. The president of Mexico is calling for protests in the United States and threatening mobilization over a minuscule 3.5% tax on remittances. In response to such threats, Congress should use reconciliation to increase the remittance tax to at least 15%. 100% agree with that. Has rightfully proposed, again, Eric Schmidt has rightfully proposed, it is immoral for foreigners to break our laws, only to then wire dollars that ultimately fund the regimes and networks undermining us. And they're getting away with it. To the point where I've talked about this before, under the height of Joe Biden's immigration or their lack of policies on immigration, they were, meaning the illegal immigrants that were working here, were sending money back to their home country. And there was reports out there that the localities of where these specific illegal immigrants were coming from was actually inflating the housing market and the localities of where they were coming from. That's how insane and how much money was being poured back into those other countries, that it was actually starting to affect them in a negative way by causing inflation. It's wild. It's good to see you, KT Willett. We are finally getting better numbers. Absolutely. We are getting better numbers, but the problem is that the numbers are so insane that it's tough to get down. But welcome to the show again. Please don't feel like I'm hounding you. I just want to bring to light what you're saying is I actually agree with you. The numbers are going down, which is a good thing. It's better to go down than up, I suppose. Congress must also do its job and deliver all the resources necessary to enforce our laws and restore order. Expanded ICE funding for detention beds, agents, transportation, and legal support, the permanent codification of President Trump's proven border policies, and the end of legal gamesmanship that allows illegal aliens to exploit endless appeals and paralyze the system, which is exactly the initiative. And as dumb as Joe Biden is, the people surrounding him aren't that dumb. This was their plan from the get-go. Shock the system, and nothing gets done. You had so many people here that the line is endless. It wraps around the globe. It's bonkers. Not around the building. Okay, that's too easy. We could solve that problem. It wraps around the globe. There's an analogy for you. Deportable aliens who are put into removal proceedings should not be granted endless chances to delay justice. Correct. They previously had due process opportunities to apply for a visa or refugee protection to lawfully enter the U.S., and once in the U.S. to seek a lawful benefit, including asylum with DHS. Once an alien is in removal proceedings, the only question should be, is the alien deportable as charged? My question is, why are we the arbiters of housing the entire globe then? Because everybody has a case in terms of, well, my country sucks and there's so much crap happening that's criminal activity that I'm just going to run away from the problem and go to a country that doesn't have those problems, but still vote in initiatives and carry out the culture that I left from here in the United States. So I'm going to leave a problem, but I'm going to try to change the culture to the country that I'm immigrating to. It's wild thinking. But this is why people run away from their problems. This is why nobody believes in personal responsibility. My question is that if your country goes usurpacious on you, do you have a responsibility to uprise against that government and try to defeat it so that other people don't have to live in that terrible environment of which you just tried to liberate from? I mean, we did. Easy for me to say because I'm not the one that has to do it. God forbid I don't ever want to have to do that. And hopefully our government does goes usurpacious on us. But that's why we have the Second Amendment. Where was I on this? The days of surrendering our sovereignty to process lawyers and activist judges must end. We must institute mandatory e-verify. No work permits should be granted unless and until an immigration benefit has been lawfully approved. Now, here's the problem, and this is me going to take a jab at Trump. Trump implemented a stay, or rather, I guess, I don't know if you call it a stay or rejection. He does not want any illegal immigrants that are working in hotels and farms to be deported. That's insane. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Your job as the president of the United States is to execute the laws on the books. And just because I voted for the guy 3 times doesn't mean I agree with everything he has to say. I know there's people in here that are diehard Trumpies, that the guy can't do anything. That's very few of you, but there are people like that. I'm not like that. I'm not beholden to Trump. I like the guy. I'm not beholden to any party. If they do something stupid, I'm going to call it out. It is stupid. And here's another one. Trump was ordered by Congress to remove TikTok. He has not done that order. He's not executing the laws that are on the books. I have a problem with that. I am a law-abiding citizen. Now I'm getting pissed. Why is it it's okay for other people to break the law, but if I do it, shit always happens to the law-abiding citizens? It pisses me off all the time. So why is it for those that are on audio and I'm on loudspeaker, I'm on the TV and the kids are in the room, you're going to want to probably mute me for a moment because now I'm going on a rant. Now I'm fucking pissed. Why is it that there's always these other people, I don't care if it's legal or illegal, that always get away with crime, doing some bullshit, but yet I do the same exact thing and I'm the one that gets fucked all the time? Why? And I'll give you an example of law-abiding citizens getting fucked with other citizens. And when I say law-abiding citizens, I should be like legal citizens. Let's talk about it in terms of legal. You go to Los Angeles and there are tent encampments fucking everywhere. There's illegal immigrants selling freaking burritos and taquitos and all this shit on the streets. You go on the sidewalk, there's just nothing but clothes on the ground because there's people selling it illegally, by the way. But I said I was going to talk about legal. There's homeless people with their RVs parked up and down the street, or they're living out of their car. So they're overstaying their parking. They're not supposed to park there. No tickets, no removals, no tows. I shit you not. If I was to take my car and go to LA and do the exact same thing with a nice looking car, because I actually clean my cars and not live out of them, I would get towed. Or at the very minimum, I would get a parking ticket and I would have to pay for it. So why the flying fuck does somebody else get to break the law because their life might be harder than mine? That's not right. That's not right. Why does somebody get to sell tacos, clothing, burritos? I don't give a fuck on the street. But yet the other guy that has to compete, well, he has to get the permits. He has to make sure the health services guy that comes out or gal doesn't ream him up the ass with a terrible letter grade or shut him down. He has to pay electricity, gas, employment, all those things. Why is it that he gets to be royally fucked, but the other person gets to sell stuff on the street, doesn't have to pay for any of that, doesn't have to pay for electricity, nothing, permits, nothing, and cops just drive right on fucking by, not a care in the world? Why the fuck does this always happen? I'm sorry to keep cussing. I'm not done yet. So if you have me muted, just hold on. You can tell my energy. It pisses me off. It's not right. So I don't care if you're working on the farms. You know, then we got to figure it out as a country then. How about that? If we're relying on crime, it is a crime to be here illegally. You walked across the border. That's a crime. You're not overstaying your visa. Okay, that's civil. I agree. You overstaying a visa is civil. You aren't supposed to be here. So if you're working the farmlands, if you're working these jobs that you say no American wants to work, who? There's a lot of Americans that would love those jobs. By the way, why don't you take all those homeless people off the streets and put them in those fucking jobs? Get them off the drugs. Pay them some money. Have some housing or whatever. Hell, I don't know. Then we got to figure it out. I'm so tired of, well, we got to rely on all this criminal activity to stay afloat. What the fuck? But I'm the bad guy. Oh, I'm the asshole I follow the law. I pay my taxes. I don't fucking do anything bad. But yeah, the moment I guarantee you, the moment I do fucking anything wrong, then there's going to be somebody reaming me on social media or somebody reaming me for something I said. But nobody's reaming the guy that's freaking raping some kids down the street or stealing this shit or looting something. God forbid we call out those people. You let me know if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm taking it too far. Maybe I'm taking it too far. I don't know. You guys keep me accountable. I'm looking at the chat right now. By the way, a lot of us have been in that situation before. I mean, you could literally be in a situation, and some of you have, I know I have, where there's a homeless guy in an RV that's parked up on the curb, meaning he's half-ass in the street and on the curb. And I'll get to this, I promise, but I'm on a rant. I'm due for one. It's been a couple weeks. He's on the sidewalk and he's in the street. I park in front of him. I pay my fucking meter. I come back and the meter's dead for like 15 minutes. I get a ticket and I look at the guy behind me. No fucking ticket. Oh, well, he could have came out and took off his windshield. Really? You think the guy that parked half-ass in the street and on the sidewalk, dirty as F, hasn't cleaned his car in Lord knows how long, that when he saw that parking ticket, which he couldn't see because his front windshield was blocked out, that he took the time to get his lazy ass up out of that car and take off the piece of paper and crinkle it and put it in his pocket? That's what you think, really? That was such a priority in his life to take the slip off his vehicle? That was the priority? I don't think so. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. It's good to see you guys. All right, we're back, everybody. It's okay. Come back in. It's fine. It's safe now. No more yelling. Daddy's done. It's okay. Daddy's done yelling. No problem. Sound Asian. I don't know why that Asian accent just came out. No problem. Really, no big deal. $50 get no good. $50 make you happy. You want happy, boy? You come in for a massage, I make you happy. I give you the good stuff. Diddy mow, diddy now. By the way, if that rant doesn't deserve at least $1, I don't know what the hell does, folks. If we all donate $1, you can help and feed an American patriot called Bald Brad. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me, by the way. It makes me feel that I'm not crazy. Round eye Brad. Dizzy. Shit. Nick says some meters are $1.50 for 15 minutes in Orange County in LA. Insanity. Correct. Oh, but you get fucked. Yeah, no. You make sure you pay that, Nick. Make sure you pay those meters because you'll get fined, not the homeless person that's breaking the law. It's always us that get screwed, whether it's the First Amendment, really any rights. The Second Amendment, always chiseling away at that. Don't get me going with the second. Don't get me going with the second. We got to get through this article. Asylum fraud is the Trojan horse. Oh! Thank you, Q, for the $1. Kicking it off, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I think everybody got $1, right? There you go. Another $1 for the rant. Hell yeah. Okay. There you go, Dizzy. Look at, if everybody does $1, we could keep this thing afloat. By the way, Trojan horse. It's almost as if, can I get this on screen at the same time? It's almost as if this guy, whose last name is Roberts as well, we have the same thinking. Maybe the same blood. Everybody's throwing $. Hell yeah. That's cool. Hell yeah. Show your tits, Brad. Okay, nobody actually donated $1 for that. I just said that. I want to be clear. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. That was me. Nobody asked me to show my tits. Now we're getting wild. People start throwing money on the stage. I start getting crazy. Here's for your damn rant. Thank you, Danielle, with the $2. By the way, for 99 cents a month, you can also become a member. I just will plug that as well. People are like fumbling their wallets, like he's gonna flash his tits. Oh my god. Oh, you guys are so great. I love you. I love you. Show your tits, David Larson. Oh god. See, as a law-abiding citizen, if I flash my tits, I'd be removed off here. But if an illegal immigrant does it for money, well, they're fine. Thank you, Cece, for the $1. God bless you, girl. Cece's a longtime supporter. Love Cece here. Love Cece. Why not? Thank you. Yeah, see, it's $1. Everybody has $1. Find $1 between the couch. Some are yelling, honey, get my wallet. Brad needs $1. Who the hell's Brad? This bald guy on the internet. I love him. He's crazy like me. Where are we at? God, I gotta get through this. Fuck. Dude, you guys are okay. We're almost done with this one. Okay. Settle down. Predesner, you got to give me a better username. It's too difficult to pronounce. Thank you for the $1. Matt, where was I? Okay. We must end birthright citizenship. I love this. This is what I want. End universal birthright citizenship and chain migration. I want that to happen. Mass deportations are necessary not only to bring back law and order, but to protect the working class. We also need to restore the full political rights of every American. While the Trump administration has rightfully prioritized the deportations of violent criminals, mass deportations require extending far beyond that, which is exactly what I've been saying time and time again. Sorry for the runny nose, by the way. I don't know if I might be getting sick. I hope I'm not getting sick. David said, fine, I'll show you mine. No camera, so I can't be arrested. How many of you weirdos are actually doing that? Freaks, I love it. I love it. Bradley needs lunch money. Yeah. Thank you to everybody who donated. I appreciate it. You guys, it really does help. I'm being sincere. All right. By the way, some people are like, I think you asked for donations too much. What? Well, who else is going to do it for me? Like, what do you mean? That's literally how you keep a show going. I don't have advertisers. Look at these legs. Look at these legs. Jesus. All right, idiots. Massive drug bust impeded by anti-ICE protesters. This is a follow-up to what we covered last week, where, do you remember there's a bunch of protesters that were going after some federal agents? And it turns out it was a massive drug bust and human trafficking initiative that they were stopping. They saved like 8 people from being human trafficked. And there's these idiots out here protesting them. So here's a follow-up to a new one. Anti-ICE protesters got in the way of drug bust targeting a former cartel member in Tucson, Arizona on Wednesday night, according to was it Penal? Well, it don't matter. There's an individual that told the outlet, I guess it's the county sheriff, told the outlet on Thursday that a group of protesters stood between federal and local law enforcement officers and a home where over 120 pounds of fentanyl. Wait, is this the same one we covered last week? I think it is. Oh, no. We did cover this, but it was in a tweet. And I remember doing that. I was like, how much is 120 pounds of fentanyl? 20 pounds of meth and 30 pounds of cocaine were seized. The suspect of a illegal immigrant and former cartel member, according to authorities, was also taken into custody and said that these protesters disrupted the joint federal and local law enforcement operation. So we showed the tweet of this, and I was like, how many people does 120 pounds of fentanyl kill? It turns out it's in the millions. It's in the high millions. Not 100 million, but it was like 83 million or something. Maybe somebody can correct me. We covered it last week. Thank you for the $1, Dizzy. I appreciate you. Brad, this is one from Metal Mouth. Oh, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. God bless you guys for the $. Keith says, don't show tits. Keith, now people are paying me not to show. What do you want, you animals? Karen says, love your rants. Brad, you speak for most of us. I appreciate that, Karen. God bless you. And thank you for your moderation. And thank you, Dizzy, for moderating as well. Thank you for volunteering. Jeff, I see you over there. Pat, appreciate you. Pat has been on the moderation, by the way. Pat has been linking. And so's Karen, so I appreciate you. Nothing against Dizzy and Jeff. I love you guys. Appreciate you. But I'm just saying, I appreciate you throwing in the links and supporting the show that way of trying to get people to buy the books and follow me on Rumble and YouTube and all that fun stuff. So thank you for the help. God bless you guys. Because Lord knows I need the help at this point. So that happened. There was a drug bust. That's all I got. We don't need to go any further in this stuff, but they're busting people for drugs, and there's a bunch of idiots out there that are protesting, thinking a bunch of illegals are going out. And so what if illegals are getting pulled out? They're committing crime. 120 pounds of fentanyl is insane. It's bonkers. I mean, I don't think I have something here. Let me see if I can get you on camera here. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, daddy. There you go. All right, you see this? Ah, shit. the screen. Can you guys see that? There you go. All right. Look at my nails. Don't judge me. You see that little bit? Right there. Less than that little bit will kill you. And they had 120 pounds. I swear my fingernails don't look that bad. What's the better one? This one. I got to trim them though. That's not bad. I got pretty clean hands. Look at those hairy fingies. Oh, so manly. Don't you judge. Cut your fingernails. All right, guys. I wanted to have to do this later. Might as well do it now. This is going to be really hard to tell you guys this. It is about my fingernails. Is everybody listening? I was going to do a whole special show on this, so you stole my thunder. Everybody listen up. Turn up your mics. Come on. Get in here. Get in the room if you're out of the room. Come on, everybody join up. All right, everyone's here. I'm going trans. Yep. I'm transitioning. I'm becoming a shapeshifter. That's it. By the way, has anybody ever done the photo thing where you can make you can make yourself look like a girl? Thank you, Steve, for the $1. Appreciate that, brother. And you got the "Don't Tread on Me" badge. Hell yeah, dude. Love that. Hopefully I didn't miss any other people's donations. Let me make sure I didn't screw up here. I think I'm good. I think I got everybody. By the way, you can keep throwing dollars all you want. I'll take dollars all day like I'm a little stripper. I don't care. I'll grift all day. I don't care at all. I'll take people's money. What the hell was I saying? I had a Joe Biden moment. I got all excited about money being tossed at me. Anyway, it don't matter. It don't matter. Does your wife know, Brad? Does now. Antonio, Trojan horse, be aware, Greeks with gifts like democracy, golden fleece, American military industrial complex gifts you golden dome. Thank you, Antonio. As the name of Israel's strike on Iran, a message to the Iranian people. This is just something interesting that I found. I wanted to see if there was something more into this. I love how some people kind of read into things a little bit too much. There's a lot of that going on. And it says here, the name Israel used for its military operation targeting Iran may have extraordinary meaning for the people of Iran. Sorry, it's Iran. It's Iran. Sorry, Iran. I don't care. I say Iran, get over it. If you don't like it, screw off. Who cares how people say some things? Come on. Come on. Who have suffered under the tyrannical Islamic regime for 46 years. Here we go. The Israeli name for the mission is Operation Rising Lion. That's, by the way, that is the working title of my trans show when I start that, okay? Operation Rising Lion. I'm sure you could read between the lines. Now, I'm not going full trans, just partial trans. Full trans would be lopping off everything. If I were to lop off everything, I can't call it Operation Rising Lion. Look, it's a working title. Don't judge me. We're starting with the nails. Lions have claws. Lions have claws. And do they swipe? Derived from, yes, there will be petting. Yes, of course there will be. Why? Who would not want to pet a lion? Are you kidding me? Look at the hair. I've always said trans are mythological creatures. They're shapeshifters. I'm keeping the hair. Yes, it's a moneymaker. People will line up for it. You guys know. Derived from Numbers 23. Yo, I was holding it in so long. And just when I said things weren't going to get weird. It was the money. It was definitely the dollar bills being thrown at me. And you know what the sad thing is? You guys treated me like a peasant. You rolled them up into a ball and you threw them at me. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Some of you are asking like, hey, you know, what would the song be, Brad, if you were to take the stage? Well, I have it here for you. Can we get Rising Lion to stage 4? Rising Lion, Brad, the stage 4, Brad 4, stage 4, Brad, Rising Lion, stage. And then Robert gifts a membership. We're having way too much fun. We're not even going over the news at this point anymore. Jesus. Thank you, Robert, for gifting Star Child. And Star has been around for a very long time, so that membership is well deserved. All right, let's get into this. Enough of this. In which the prophet Balaam, who was hired by King Balak of Moab to curse Israel, but was directed by God to bless Israel instead, declined of the Jewish people. Behold, the people will arise like a lion cub and raise itself like a lion. This isn't very fun, actually. This is kind of lame. But the imagery of the lion rising may also have tremendous significance for the people of Iran. The flag of the Iran for 4 centuries before the Islamic regime took over in 1979 was a lion with the sun rising on the stripes of green, white, and red. The Islamic regime replaced the lion with a stylized version of Allah and the phrase Allah Akbar along the edges of the green and red stripes. So it's an interesting theory. It truly is an interesting theory. Maybe. I mean, again, part of what I've heard over the weekend was this whole movement of them going after the leadership in Iran is to maybe overthrow the government. So I think everybody's rooting for Iran to, figure their ish out here. So is Trump playing 4D chess? I told you that I had this locked and loaded, ready to go. So I want to break this down with you. This is one that I'm genuinely interested in. It's probably the most interesting article that I have today that I'm personally want to know more about. And as I've mentioned, if you're new here, I don't read these articles beforehand. I just see a title. I go, it might be interesting to cover. Some are good, some are bad. That's the way the cookie crumbles, baby. As President Trump attempted to negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran, it became clear and clear that the deal was not possible. Trump was never going to sign a deal at the end of the day. Some people on the right were complaining that President Trump wasn't acting like Barack Obama. But it was never a MAGA position to be Barack Obama. Donald Trump said for 10 years that this JCPOA was the worst deal in American history. He was never going back to it. And it wasn't just him. Again, I referenced Thomas Sowell earlier on in the show. Thomas Sowell himself says that this deal that Barack Obama created was a disastrous deal. And just because of that one deal, and there's other variables that go into it too, that deal led to Thomas Sowell classifying Barack Obama as the worst president in American history. As new details emerge as the levels of coordination and talking between the United States and Israel over the current wave of attacks, it is clear that President Trump was actually playing 4D chess with all of this. He put Iran in a box to keep them there and allow for the possibility of Israel to destroy their nuclear facilities and large swaths of their military capability with no risk to American troops. The president was asked by the Wall Street Journal about whether he was given a heads up by the Israeli government. He replied, heads up. It wasn't a heads up. It was, we know what's going on. President Trump is being very clear about this. It appears the United States was not just read in on the operation. Think of the extent to which this was a 4D chess plan in which the appearance of negotiations with Steve Witkoff was actively put forward by the United States in order to sucker the Iranians into going to sleep after it was clear that the Iranians were not making a deal. It's quite plausible that the United States was involved in a disinformation operation targeted directly at the Iranian government. Wow. I have not heard that one before. That's a new one for me. I have not heard that play. That's interesting. In any case, tactical surprise was not only achieved, it was achieved in historic fashion and what looks a lot like 4D chess with plausible deniability from the United States. That's what it looks like from the outside and from all the information that's being released, including from President Donald Trump himself. On Friday morning, Trump put out a series of statements. He told John Carl of ABC, quote, I think it'll be excellent. We gave them a chance and they didn't take it. They got hit hard, very hard. They got hit about as hard as you're going to get hit. And there's more to come, a lot more. President Trump's first statement came last night. I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words, just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they just couldn't get it done. I told them it would be much worse than anything they anticipated, or were told that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, which with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen. They're all dead now, and it will only get worse. So remember, peace through strength. This is what it looks like. This is what Trump's foreign policy looks like. It's what it always looks like. Anyone who is surprised by this has been ignoring what President Trump has been saying and doing for his entire time as president of the United States. I would like to point out, we did cover it ourselves. We did mention weeks and weeks ago that if Trump was to go after nuclear facilities, you could find the clip yourself, that it was going to be the Israelis that are going to do it, and he's going to have them do it on behalf of what he would want to do himself. And that's exactly how it played out. So that's why I always say, hop into their news shows in the morning, because you're going to be weeks ahead of the news cycle. I don't just say things for the sake of saying things. Usually I've given it some thought, not a ton of thought, but some thought, and present it to you people. And by you people, I mean you patriots, baby. You patriots. Again, if you're enjoying what you're seeing and hearing, hit that like button. It does support us. Greatly appreciate everybody over on X, Rumble, and YouTube. It still boggles my mind that we get twice the viewership on X with like 300 followers. We get twice the viewership on X than we do on YouTube. Folks, YouTube, I have over 107,000 subscribers. Somebody explain to me how that's possible. How is it possible I have twice the viewership? 300 people, I have twice the viewership on X. 100,000 people, over 100,000 people. It doesn't make sense. I will always complain about that, because it boggles the mind. It truly does. And by the way, I have 2,000 followers on Rumble, and I have 3 times the viewership. I have 2,000 followers on Rumble, and I have 3 times the viewership than I do on YouTube. Somebody make sense of that, please. Please. Alrighty. So multiple illegal immigrants escape custody as protesters surround ICE detention facility. Oh, this is fun. 4 suspected illegal immigrants, referred to as public safety threats, escaped from federal authorities at a building used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement. How does that happen? How do you just escape from a facility? Was there a mole inside that allowed this to happen? The escapees, identified as 2 Hondurans and 2 Colombian nationals by the Department of Homeland Security, broke through a wall and escaped from the Delaney Hall Detention Center, the Associated Press reported. Detainees being held inside this hall reportedly became enraged over delayed meals, and protesters showed up at the detention center, pushing against the gates and attempting to block vehicles from passing through. Again, none of these people will go and, they're not going to go to Egypt and go after those authorities for deporting people for just protesting. And they were protesting way peacefully than any of these people are. They won't go over there and do it. Oh, no, because we're terrible. Delaney Hall is the same facility where you have Mayor Baraka, along with Monica McClover, were arrested during altercations. An attorney representing one of the suspects, illegal immigrants being detained, told the Associated Press that the situation became violent on Thursday after meals for the detainees arrived hours later than normal. Oh, so now when meals arrive late, you get to rise up and start protesting. Gotcha. It's remarkable. You're still being fed, but it came hours late. Oh, geez. Terrible. I mean, the entitlement, right? So bonkers, man. No, they're going to assimilate greatly into this country. They're going to be great Democrats. That's exactly the Democrats' way of thinking. Remember Democrats were complaining on the street about the meals, that the meals weren't good? Let me see if I can find that clip for you really quick. Yeah, there is. Yeah, we showed it. We played it here on the show. Let me see if I can find the clip. I know what it looks like. The food they're handing out here is too. Yeah. So here's one clip. It's not the clip I was looking. Oh yeah, here's the clip I was looking for, and I'll show you the other one.
A place to sleep. Like what did they give you in the shelter? What were the resources?
La comida y el cuarto, más nada.
Food, 3 meals a day?
3 comidas al día.
Sí, pero yo no comía esa comida porque eso era comida congelada.
Ahí nadie se comía esa comida porque eran comida congelada. Nobody ate
y ahí no había trabajadora social en esos chetes de allá de Queen, no hay.
There were no social workers in
Por eso
Queens
fue que
shelter.
uno salió a los 6 meses.
That's why they
nada
left.
hacíamos allá porque todo es un protocolo.
I would like to point out that both of these people, and I'm not kidding, have nicer clothes than me. And I'm not exaggerating that by any means. They are wearing way nicer clothes than I don't even know if I've ever bought anything. I mean, I'm speculating, but yeah, I don't wear this nice of clothes even myself, and I live here.
No pude sacar los papeles nunca.
No
Yo estoy
pudimos
haciendo
sacar
mis
los
trámites
papeles
por
porque todo allá era de 7 a 10 de la noche.
Why do you need social workers at the shelter?
para los papeles.
So for 6 months, were you working during those 6 months at the shelter?
Study in el shelter. No, they weren't.
No tuve ninguna ayuda en ese chete, en realidad ninguna, solamente un techo donde dormir y ya, porque ni la comida.
It certainly felt odd to hear that she got no help besides a roof and food when there are homeless Americans who can't get those same resources.
So for those that are on audio, he literally passed by a homeless American that's not getting those. Well, they have those resources. They just don't seek them out. And what they have found is the homeless shelters are impacted. They're impacted with illegal immigrants as well. So here is a Honduran migrant saying the food that they are handing out here is terrible. Refried beans. And if they were feeding the pigs, if we don't eat this, we will die of hunger.
Un día y medio ha deambulado Miriam junto a sus 2 hijas pequeñas por Tijuana. En apenas 2 días han...
All right, the whole thing's in Spanish. I'm over it. I'm not going to play that. But I read you the transcript. So there you go. That's awesome. Isn't that just lovely? So we got more news here for all of you. Here's why the Trump admin says it would be dangerous to release Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Oh, why would it be dangerous? What do you mean? He's the Maryland man. He's a good guy. What do you mean it'd be dangerous to release this guy out there? Could it be the human trafficking? Could it be maybe an MS-13 violent gang member? Could it maybe be that he beat the shit out of his wife and kids? Would that be why? Huh. The Justice Department argued Friday that releasing suspected gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia would pose a danger to the public because of his alleged history of violence towards his wife. What? No. What do you mean? He just rammed her head in the freaking drawer for not putting enough salt on a steak. What's the... I don't see a problem with that. What do you mean? She's the one that messed up. No, he just freaking gave her a right hook right to the jaw for not putting enough butter on his toast. Come on. Oh, another souffle? Another souffle, really, honey? But he put his... there's nothing wrong. The drywall is padded. He put her head through a drywall. Sexual misconduct towards young girls. And participation in an illegal alien smuggling ring. He's a good guy. Goes to church every Wednesday and Sunday. Sometimes even on a Monday and a Friday, believe it or not. He sweeps the parking lot with a handheld dust and broom. Old school. Yep. Passes out candy to the kids on the streets. You wouldn't believe the community service this gentleman does, folks. Yep. He's the one grilling he's the one grilling the burgers on 4th of July. The guy's an all-American patriot. He'll ask you, how do you want it cooked? Yep. Medium. Well done. He'll do it all. He'll do it all for free. It's really remarkable. Basking out there in the sun. Yep. He runs the neighborhood watch. Just a true gentleman. Great guy. Abrego Garcia, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador who has been incorrectly dubbed a Maryland man by the legacy media, appeared in federal court in Nashville on Friday for his arraignment on human smuggling charges and a detention hearing. Wearing a bright red prison suit and listening to proceedings through interpreters, Abrego Garcia pled not guilty in front of a crowd of left-wing supporters who showed up to watch the case play out. What are they protesting? I mean, are they protesting? Are they supporters? What are they supporting here? They got what they wanted. The guy's back now. I don't know. So he faces 10 years in prison, $250,000 fine for one count of conspiracy to transport aliens, and up to 10 years in prison for each illegal smuggled across the country. I heard this guy's been smuggling people for years. For years. I think somebody ratted him out, is what I think happened. Look at these psychos out here. Stop the ICE kidnappings. Not a single sign out there to say, hey, stop kidnapping our children. I mean, you guys, you got to admit, right? Hold on a second. The irony in this sign is mind-bending. Mind-bending. The guy that allegedly took place in was involved in human trafficking has a person that's in support of the guy that's human trafficking having a sign that says, stop the ICE kidnappings. The guy that quite possibly was a part of a violent gang that took part in kidnapping young girls and selling and putting them in the forced labor and sex slavery has a sign that reads that. I've said this so many times. The longer I live, the more I believe we're in a simulation. There's no way in hell some of these people are roaming this earth. I think the AI said, look, we ran out of options. We're just going to pump these people out, not a fucking thought in their head, and we're just going to put them out there. There's no, I'm sorry, like, I'm not saying I am smart. I am not. Please understand that. I know I say it all the time. I'm an idiot. I ain't that dumb. I am not that stupid. Why does my hat always grow crooked? Is my head lopsided? It baffles me, man. The crux of the Justice Department case relies on a traffic stop in Putnam County, Tennessee, wherein Albrego was pulled over driving a Chevrolet Suburban with 9 others inside. One of those individuals noted his age to be 15. Homeland Security agent said that the 15-year-old boy was unaccounted for to this day and that they hadn't tracked him down yet, saying, we don't know right now. Well, maybe you should check in the Middle East because that's where some of these people are going. Did you know there's like, I gotta look it up for you. Look it up. I forgot how many slaves there are nowadays. There's allegedly a ton, like in the millions. Slavery is insane right now. Okay, so it says here, approximately 50. Let me just bring it up for you. Excuse me. You're going to want to hear this. Approximately 50 million people were living in modern slavery in 2021. 50 million people living in modern slavery. Nothing to see here, though, folks. Nothing to see here. No big deal. But remember, black people deserve their reparations. Make sure you get that money out to the black people. So if you donated $1 to me, take the $1 back. There's a black person in need, allegedly. I use the term black person because you can't see a lot of black people aren't actually African American. They're just black and they live here in the United States. There's a lot of different types of black people. In the same way, there's a lot of different types of white people and Asian people. But we never can go that far. So the riot is brought to you by shrieking young leftist white women. This is so spot on. With the Asian guys in the freaking restaurant filming this. These are probably people from other countries going, we don't ever see this crap. This is nuts. Correct. I want to see. There has to be a clip here. Please be there's no clip. That's tough. That's tough. We don't need to break this down. We don't need to break this down at all. I wonder, though, if there is a clip that I could find you, though, in real time. We'll see if we can get that. But while I'm doing this, make sure you hit that like button. Greatly appreciate all of you. It's always fun. That's not what I wanted. It's just a screenshot. Oh, well, here's one. This is a good one. This is a good one to show because I saw this one. Jeez Louise, huh? Before I play it, we're going to the chat. How much? Not for me. How much? We're going to do before and after. How much would somebody have to pay you? And ladies, you're involved in this too. How much would somebody have to pay you to get with her? It doesn't have to be sexual. Date. Marry. If you want to throw in sexual, you can. That's up to you. Yes, Mizzy, we are doing it. Buckle up, girl. Buckle up, Mizzy. Oh, we're doing it, baby. Come on, throw in the numbers. Lulu just spit up her coffee. Yeah. Make sure you get that baby bib, Lulu. You're going to be spit up a lot of coffee here for the next 31 seconds when I play this bad boy. Don't worry, it's only 31 seconds. I know. Come on. Angel, comb your hair. 10 million, Karen? Is it designer? I got it, girl. Okay. Designer, you got to just give me your name. Give me a nickname. It's too difficult for me to pronounce. I'm the dumb. But said no amount of money. Really? Nick, are you still in here? Nick, how much money, you scumbag? No, I'm not on that team. Oh, come on. Not even if she were the last person on earth. You liars! I know there's some freaks in here. Who are you?
Don't come on my page and say that people should be in this country legally. Don't fucking do it. This is ridiculous. It's inhumane. You are a human being, and don't you dare use Jesus' name or God's name in this and say that this is what he would want and pretend to be a Christian, because you're not. This is pure evil. You are scum of the earth. These are people. These are mothers. These are fathers. These are human beings. And all you care about is where they are geographically. Shame on you.
Now, I'm just going to go out and say this. For a small fee of $10, we got to make it higher. For you guys, let me know. People can donate to not play videos. There you go. There's an idea. All right, here's Nick. Where you at, you little, where you at? Where's Nick at? I'm here, baby. If she cooks 3 times a day, I would give her a chance. I knew you had it in you, you dog. For those that are curious, Nick is one of my best friends. So shout out to you, Moto Light Nick. I love you. But you're also a disgusting pig, Nick. And that's why I love you. Those are the people I hang out with, folks. For 3 meals a day, Nick would give her a chance. Ladies, he is taken, okay? You can't have him. He's mine. Nick is mine. It's always the liberal white. Is there another one? Is there any more liberal white women yelling? Oh, I can't show that. There's also, I could send you the link. Let me give you guys the link. Now, there's a protest happening in Paris, and I'm going to give you the link, but I want to let you know what's in the link because I don't want to be actually rude, because this is, I don't know, just graphic. There's topless women protesting in Paris saying stop war on women. So I'm going to give you the link, but I'm telling you now, there's topless women in this video, like a lot of them. I'm just going to be clear on this, okay? So if you don't want to see that, then don't click on the link. But they're all white women. Okay, so again, do not click on the link if that's what you don't want to see. I'm being very clear, and I'm not screwing around. I'm also putting the link in there because there's a lot of guys in the chat, and I'm hooking them up. All right. Next one. Masked protesters surround Seattle ICE office with agents and detained illegals inside. Masked protesters have reportedly attempted to surround an immigration and customs enforcement ICE field office in Seattle carrying shields and waiting outside while ICE agents and a number of detained illegal aliens remain inside. Quote, this is the current scene outside the ICE Seattle field office. Antifa militants have surrounded the building with blockades. Several illegal migrants have detained inside, and anti-ICE activists are attempting to prevent ICE agents from transporting them out of the facility. So here's a little bit of what that looks like. Look at these idiots. Can we just... I love that they do a drive-by. We get to see them. Oh, that's so... It's just... I'm telling you, this is simulation. Simulation. There is maybe allegedly an Antifa member wearing the scarf that a lot of pro-Hamas people wear, holding up a peace sign. It's unbelievable. Potentially a terrorist sympathizer is holding up a peace sign. The irony in that is crazy. All of you are trying to click the link. The link is good. Or just go on TikTok, go on Twitch, Jesus Christ, I'm all over the place. Why is it TikTok, Twitter? What the hell's the other one? It don't freaking matter. Twitch. If you just type in Paris women protest in X, it will populate for you guys. Freaking wild. Where is it? Pat had it correctly. Y'all a bunch of perverts. Exactly. You pervs. But guys also just want to see boobies. I mean, guys love boobies. I mean, it's not a shock. But anyways. So let's see these let's see the crew here. Let's see the left's best and brightest. Now, do you think these are for rioting, or do you think that they just need to wear helmets because they're on the spectrum? Do you notice they're always wearing black? You notice that? Robert says, I'd rather not see 70 plus nasty saggy. Not all of them are. Not all of them, my friend. Yeah, I saw it. I didn't know I was going to stumble upon it, to be fair. But I saw it. I stuck around. Hell yeah, here we go. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Cue it up. Hold on. Just give me one moment here, folks. Again, I'm one man. But if we're going to do this right, we're going to do this right. So let me go back. Alrighty. Now, I want to go back here really quick. Let's see if I can find her. Where is this stallion? Where's she at? Where's Big Bertha at? She was on the ground. Okay, this is Big Bertha. And you see this right here. Hold on, where is it? Right there. As she's getting up, I think it's a she, you never know nowadays, giving the middle finger. I'm going to give this officer some advice, and this comes from hockey. They have nightsticks. They still call them nightsticks nowadays. That's a really old term. Well. This person's going to turn around. You're going to see this person here. I want to give them advice here. Okay. All right. Right here, you see the nightstick, or what I believe to be one, and this person's face. Now, in hockey, there's a thing called a cross check. It's where you take your stick and you hold it like this, and you go boom to people's backs, to their faces, to their jugular, really anything. Now, you get a penalty for it. And depending on where you execute the cross-check, kicked out of the game. Now, I know this because I do this professionally. This right here, now they have a mask on, but right here, you get them right here. You see the spot that I'm, right here? Right there. That is going to shatter their nose on that specific spot right here. That's all you got to do. I want to see shattered noses. This is moments. ICE escapes with detained migrants after federal and local police advance on Antifa. Ooh, here we go. Do you notice that it's all white people? Do you guys notice that? And mostly white liberal women. Psychos. So it's okay for them to shout, go home, but, you know, when somebody else does it to illegals, it's wrong. Gotcha, okay. What a bunch of clowns, man. I mean, really, it's a clown show. We also have here Antifa militants attack police vehicles. Actually, I'm just going to go to this view. I kind of wish that they would just start kind of, you know, unloading the rest of their canisters on their way out. You know, lighten the load a little bit. My thing is why are they not stopping and just arresting all these people? It pisses me off. Why are these people not being arrested for vandalizing property? And for unlawful assembly, by the way. But remember, if we do it, we're held accountable. Yep. None of them are getting arrested. Also, here's Antifa jumping a military veteran, by the way. This is going to piss a lot of you guys off. And me as well. So again, Antifa just jumped a military veteran who tried to help us after we were assaulted. Someone stopped in the road and let us pile into their car and we are gone. So here's a veteran getting his ass kicked. Hey, shout out to this guy though. 2, 4, 5 people, 6 people maybe. Look at this cane.
Stop! No, they're assaulting someone. They're assaulting an innocent guy. What's wrong with you? They're assaulting an innocent... You caused it. You just touched me. Do not touch me. I'm not touching you. I swear to God, if you run over my foot right now... Oh. You should go.
Shout out to that veteran, man. Shout out to you, dude.
Stop!
Bunch of pussies can't fight the guy one-on-one, huh? Typical scumbags, dude. Bunch of pussies. Can't fight the guy one-on-one, huh? You gotta do it as a group. What a bunch of bitches. Pussies. I hate that shit. You never take the guy one-on-one, huh? You always gotta have a bunch of your other guys there. Got it. Bunch of losers. We also have this. It looks like Democrat Party are doxing ICE agents. Remember, the party of peace, the party of love, the party of inclusivity. Oh, well, it looks like a branch of the Democrat Party revealed the location of immigrations and customs enforcement agents in Los Angeles and organized protests at hotels housing the federal law enforcement agents. Foothill Community Democrats doxed the locations of federal law enforcement in multiple posts on Instagram. One post identified 6 Los Angeles hotels that are reportedly housing ICE agents and encouraged fellow Democrats to call the hotels to demand they kick ICE out. So here's what that looks like. Here's a nice little screen grab. There you go. Let me get out of here. Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs told Daily Wire the department will prosecute those who doxed ICE agents. We'll see. We'll see if it actually happens. Right? As of right now, it seems a lot of talk and no walk. Here's a bunch of posters. So this one's from, looks like it's from Instagram. Look at this idiot. Gavin Newsom. Doesn't he just look like a villain? He would be the perfect Joker, and then Chuck Schumer would be the perfect Penguin. I mean, that is perfect casting. It doesn't get much better than that, folks. It really doesn't. So here's that update on the spouses gunned down in targeted shootings. So this was, we got updates here. Governor Tim Walz confirmed on Saturday morning that State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband were both killed. He called the attack a politically motivated assassination.
We're here today because an unspeakable tragedy has unfolded in Minnesota. My good friend and colleague, Speaker Melissa and her husband Mark, were shot and killed early this morning in what appears to be a politically motivated assassination. Our state lost a great leader, and I lost the dearest of friends. Speaker Hortman was someone who served the people of Minnesota with grace, compassion, humor, and a sense of service. She was a formidable public servant, a fixture and a giant in Minnesota. She woke up every day determined to make this state a better place. She is irreplaceable, and we've been missed by so many. Minnesota's thoughts and prayers are with her family, her loved ones, her children, and her parents.
So that's Tim Walz, Tampon Tim. Walz said State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were both shot numerous times but are expected to survive, which is always just good news. 2 Minnesota Democrat lawmakers and their spouses were reportedly gunned down in targeting shootings on Friday night. This was going all over the news. Got overshadowed, I think, a little bit, just a little bit, by the protests and also the celebration for the 250th anniversary of the United States Army. There was a moment underway for the suspect. There's a manhunt underway. They did get the guy. We'll give you updates on that in just one moment, but they did get the guy for the suspect. And there's a lot of theories going out. There's a lot of theories if he was a Democrat or Republican and all those other things. I'm not going to come out and say that just yet. I don't know. There's not enough. I'm going to wait for the evidence, which is why I'm just giving you stuff you probably already heard and know. I like to wait for more information to come out about this individual. I think it's a little odd. It's a little weird to me. So I'm gonna hold my opinion for now. But Trump did respond to the attack on the lawmakers. Said such horrific violence will not be tolerated. The White House press secretary Caroline Leavitt, after apparently targeted shooting left Minnesota Democrat lawmakers dead, she read a statement. So here's the statement from the president. I have been briefed on the terrible shooting that took place in Minnesota, which appears to be targeted attack against state lawmakers. Our Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI are investigating the situation, and they will be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated in the United States of America. God bless the great people of Minnesota, a truly great place. So Attorney General Pam Bondi also issued a statement. She said this here. I'm closely monitoring developments in Minnesota after what appears to be a targeted attack against state lawmakers. The FBI is on the ground investigating this case alongside state and local partners. The horrific violence will not be tolerated. So again, they did get the guy. And I'll show you that in just one moment. But if you're enjoying what you're seeing, please let me know. Let me know what you think here. A lot of you have opinions about this. Senator Mike Lee criticized over assassination comment. A political assassination in the United States involving a Democratic state House member has sparked a significant reaction on social media. Senator Mike Lee from Utah posted a comment which many interpreted as blaming political opponents. The incident has led to a widespread criticism of Lee for various users online who accused him of distorting the facts surrounding the attack. I think there is truth, though, that the rhetoric from the Democrat Party, and you get this a little bit on the right, but I'd say more so on the Democrat side of their rhetoric. And all you have to do is play the montage of their rhetoric for the last 4 years, calling everybody extremists and all these other things. The weird thing here is, and this is why I want to withhold, this guy's clearly wearing a mask, right? You can kind of see. He dressed up as a police officer, and the interviews from local law enforcement said that this guy, from like head to toe to even the vehicle he was driving that had lights on it as well, that there would be no indication between if there was a real police officer standing next to this guy and him. That's how closely he looked like, I guess, actual law enforcement in uniform. So it's weird. The whole thing is just very, very weird. Let me see if I can give you some updates, though, on this whole thing. Like I said, they did get the guy. Let me see if I can get this going. All right, here we go. Justin, suspected Minnesota assassin Vance, blah, 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 has been arrested near his Green Island home. He was spotted near a home, blah, blah, blah. So he did get, there's the photo I was looking for. So they ended up getting him. I don't know. A lot of people are saying he's a Republican. A lot of people are saying he's a Democrat. Either way, somebody's life was taken. And this was her life. I guess he also allegedly killed their dog as well. They're refusing to release. I guess he had a manifesto, huh? Let's go play that. That's weird.
I'm going to give Ellen. We're going to give it to Ellen, and then we're going to have one more question.
Can you talk a little bit more about the manifesto and what kind of motivation it might be? There might be. We're told that there might be some pro-choice lawmakers on this manifesto. That has anything to do with the motivation here?
At this point in time, it would be premature. The question was, is the manifesto and the information that we have received, is their motivations? We are working diligently on that. There's certainly some indications within that, but there's not specifics enough. We have been, this is a very active and fluid investigation. Throughout the day, as you've been waiting, and these teams have been out working out in the field, and they have been gathering more documents and information, so it would be premature for me at this point to really say exactly what the motivation might be from these writings, but we will be continuing to work on that and provide that information when we're able.
Remember, last time we didn't get a manifesto out, the person ended up being part of the LGBTQ plus alphabet soup community. Now, here is Alex Jones. Say what you will about the guy. I'm just going to play it. It was a little bit odd. This clip that everybody was saying, this was, I want to say, less than 24 hours before her being murdered. You could tell she's kind of choked up here regarding her vote.
House and former House Speaker, along with her husband Mark, were gunned down in their Brooklyn Park home by a suspect posing as a police officer. The shooter, identified as 57-year-old Vance Bolter, remains at large. After engaging in a firefight with police at Hortman's home, he fled on foot.
I saw the video of his obese roommate reading his text message to the news yesterday, and it came off as very theater kid.
I love you guys. I made some choices, and you guys don't know anything about this, but I'm going to be gone for a while. Sorry.
Take your time.
Again, how do you walk into someplace and you see a bowl of fruit and from 20 feet away you go, that's fake? It looks real, but your mind knows because it knows the look. You know when you see something fake. And I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying it's my opinion. And he had 70 targets. So were they planning to hit more people, whoever this group is, and then blame Trump? Then the wife gets caught with people in a car with guns and passports and ammunition, counties away leaving. He's got a wife, though, but he's got a roommate, this guy. I don't know exactly what's going on, but it doesn't add up, and it stinks to high heaven.
So you could, I mean, it's a 30-minute clip here. I haven't watched it myself, but at least you got the summary of it all and kind of my thinking of everything that I've heard. And this is my first time, again, seeing the Alex Jones clip, but it just, I don't know, man. It's so weird. It is so weird. I mean, he had this in his car, too.
Are there reasons to believe that these events were also targeted by the person in the manifesto in the car?
We don't have any direct links. However, there were some flyers that said no kings within the suspect vehicle. And as we know, the planned events throughout the state of Minnesota today is a no kings event.
And so the reference materials that were inside of the vehicle that we saw, we have no understanding that any of the No Kings events would be targeted, but we also find it of interest to the public that these would be in there, and we want to alert everybody until we do that. Because this is such an active investigation with information not knowing right now, we feel it's an obligation to all of you and the public across the state of Minnesota to alert you of it, and that's why the Colonel made the notation of recommending people don't go today. But the individuals are not in custody yet, and so we want to make sure as that very active manhunt is underway and continues, that we make sure that we're sharing that, and that's part of why we're making the recommendation. As to the investigation and the list, we are working through that now and talking to individuals, and we'll continue to. What I would say with the list is there's a large number of people. That's all I can say about it. We will work through all of that, what the motivations of this are, and we'll provide that as you can. This is really...
Isn't it remarkable that we live in 2025 and internet connection is still dog shit? You know what I mean? You all heard it going in and out. And look at the image quality. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So I don't know. I mean, the guy's wearing a Papa John shirt. Like they said, the guy's a roommate, but yet he's married. Was this guy like a college roommate? Look, I'll use Nick as an example because Nick's my friend. If I was rooming with Nick and Nick did something like this, I love you, Nick, but I would not be crying. I would be like, holy shit, he did what? That's fucking crazy. Yeah, there was some shit. Yeah, no, the guy, he said some shit for sure, but I didn't really think he would do it, you know? I wouldn't be like, with my buddy, I can't believe. No, I'd be like, holy shit, dude, what the fuck? I'd probably saying what the fuck a lot. I'd be, oh, fuck, like, oh. I mean, I wouldn't be able to process it. Like, holy shit, I don't know, man, that's weird. Like, I don't know, I don't think he would do that. That's crazy. I mean, I guess, but, I mean, there were signs that he was trans or something, but not this.
That's what he did, you know? He voted for Trump. There we go there.
You describe him as a strong supporter of the president? Or?
Yeah, he was a strong supporter, but like I said, we hardly ever talking about foreign politics. I think it's like twice a week.
This is literally what I would look like if I was in an alternate universe. This is depressed Brad, no love life, not spitting any game anymore, just working for Papa John's and taking every pizza home that did not sell every night and eating it. So we'll give you more information as stuff comes out. I don't want to throw a bunch of stuff out there that it's a bunch of conspiracy theories. You guys are more than capable of doing that stuff yourself. Well, we'll call it there. I've been streaming over 2 hours. I would like to eat breakfast if that's okay with you guys. But I'm gonna leave you with this: a anti-ICE protester got ran over. This is always fun. Probably shouldn't be blocking the street. Good. And here she is whining and crying that she got ran over. And people are blown away. How could you? How could you? Ow. So, with that being said, let's raid somebody. Now, if you're not familiar with what we do here, we raid people and we plug our show. It is one of the main ways right now that we're actually getting traction to the Bald Brad Show. So I always appreciate people plugging my show and other people's shows. And why don't we try to send you over to Steven Crowder? Let's see if we even get a shout out. We're going to rate. I just want to see. Let's blow up his chat. Let's see if we can actually get Steven Crowder to give us a shout out on his show. So we've streamed next to him before at the Don't Leave Danielle, head over to Rumble. I need you to help promote. I need your help. We're going to light up his chat with Bald Brad Army and spam it. And, welcome, patriots. We got to show that we're patriotic. We don't want to seem like a bunch of lefties here. But we're going to raid his show. I want to see if we can get a shout out by Steven. Thank you for your help in this. I will be in there as well. Appreciate you. Let's see what we can do here. I want to see if we could trigger it. Let's do this.